for our next battleground here in this best of 3. As all the maps are open, where are we going? It's going to be Dragonshire by Fnatic, Kaldor.
Yeah, and Dragonshire again is like heavy with control and of course rotations as well. Therefore, Fnatic has definitely the edge here. The one thing that I really liked from Dark Sided though is the emotions on their end. When they got the initial kills in the last game, they just exploded, and you could really hear that they had a lot of fun. Skinny was talking about it in the cast a little bit, that he basically told them, learn as much from that series as you can, do what you're used to do, what you do at home, and then learn and take away from the replays later. And I think that's absolutely what they need to do here. And hearing them enjoying the game and just saying like, okay, we are going to have some fun here, and we're trying to ride that momentum that we built up early on, I think that's actually the way they need to approach this.
All right, game number 2, Dragonshire is our map. The draft begins now. Fnatic leads 1-0 against Dark Sided.
And one thing that I want to get across here is the fact that Fnatic is comfortable picking Dragonshire is very much flaunting, you know, the confidence that they have over Dark Sided. The fact that it's one of their most banned maps, they've almost never selected it for themselves. It's just going, we're comfortable.
The thing about Fnatic, if you go all the way back to last year when this team first formed, at every event that they come to, they have a different strategy. They probably won't show it here, but whether it's the Leoric Lunara from back in the day, whether it's the Chromie pick, whether, of course, the Genji, of course, was very prevalent for a long time. But if you go all the way back to last year, they've always found some way to innovate on this battleground. And so Fnatic, very well versed here, and we'll see exactly what they can do strategically. I imagine they'll keep it standard, but if there is any type of weird pick, I would not be surprised at all.
I'm currently worried a bit for Darkside because Fnatic is one of the teams that early on when Garrosh was introduced immediately said, we tried him a lot, but we found so many ways to exploit his own positional weaknesses and to punish a Garrosh on the other team's side that we don't really think the hero offers enough for us to be using him a lot. So right now, we could see them with ETC, Malthael, both of them are great against Garrosh, so that might be picks that we see later down the road for them. But of course, with it being Dragonshire, it's again the heavy rotations and potential global plays that we have to watch out for too.
Sweet there, by the way. First solo support of the tournament, brought to you by Smexy. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby of performance.
So, what he's saying is basically, Smexy, he thinks of himself as equaling 2 support. Well played, Smexy.
It's pretty close.
But Fnatic has actually, in European interviews, stated several times when the double support meta started to pick up, that they themselves feel, whereas while double support is strong, they're also very confident approaching it with a solo support that they believe in their strength and in their execution. So since then, of course, they have adapted to a degree, but they are still one of the few teams that have the confidence to show a solo support if it warrants the situation.
I am already got to say that I'm very happy to see Darksided commit to the Rhaegar before the secondary ban phase on a map where we have so importance onto wave player. I just feel like I cannot highlight the fact that he is one of the best wave players within his role in the double support meta. It really sets yourself ahead if you can get that for yourself, but looks like Fnatic not want to deal with the Chromie. Typically, you would see that with anticipation of a heavy amount of siege. The Greymane slightly caters towards that, but I didn't think that we would see that here into Darksided, honestly.
Agreed. It's just so different coming into the BlizzCon opening week here, where Murden obviously is going to have high priority, and Sonya kind of back in the top tier of the meta. Uther going to be banned out there, but again, having this type of control all in the front line with Murden, with the new Murden, and the Sonya in the top lane, like the world is your oyster at this point. You can do whatever you want with this composition.
The Chromie ban feels like the Fnatic has done. I mean, sometimes you have the high-level teams not really respecting too many of the lower teams, but it looks like they've kind of responded to what they saw from the ANZ region. Because if I recall correctly, there was a lot of control against that Chromie when it came to Nomia versus Darksided.
You are very much correct. Hacky is very much known to be kind of that Chromie. It feels like that is his kind of go-to hero overall.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking again to Darksided before these games. Ultimately, I got a bit of hint towards what they want to make happen today in terms of the heroes that they weren't comfortable unveiling it, but he was like, Hacky is going to pop off today.
Yeah.
Like, look out for him. So immediately seeing that going into the Chromie ban, I'm like, oh, maybe, you know, everybody's got an eye on Hacky a little bit more than at least I did at first glance here for Darksided.
Well, with Fnatic right now in the next 2 picks, of course, we're most likely going to see the support right again and leaving for Shrimpy to what he did in the last map already. If you give Basically in Europe we have Mene and Shrimpy both that absolutely adore to play on Liming because they can just get those resets and really carry a team fight and drive it home. And that's what he did in the last map, and they're going to try and do the exact same thing again with now a little bit of right-wing flavor as well. So we have our global.
Ooh.
I have been on the Thrall train personally lately. I think that there's a place. I know it's a little crazy, right? But the one thing I do like about Fnatic's side of the draft is they went Brightwing, and depending on that, they can decide, they can flex that over. Oh, wow. There, you want to pop off. You know, we see the control there. Murden's going to be on one side. Leeming's going to be there. Garrosh suffers against the big blow-up style damage, and also Kel'Thuzad has that big blow-up style damage. One good way to deal with that is a protected, by the way.
This Kel'Thuzad is going to suffer a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not only do you have Shrimpy flanking you with Li Ming the entire game and looking for that insta-kill, you have a Muradin that's going to jump on your face whenever he can, especially after 16. And then there's always Medivh as well to account for, which, by the way, now that I think about it, we're probably going to have Shrimpy on Medivh and Quacknix is going to jump on Li Ming. Same story, though.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously the Medivh, a great response to the Garrosh.
And to see the kind of outlier of the Thrall, you know, at first of the tournament here, it just feels like Thrall used to be known as the only hero to be able to effectively deal with Sonya into a 1v1 matchup, but he did lose it in the long run, specifically in the wave clear avenue. That hasn't changed, and ultimately I suddenly even go, well, what can we be looking for, you know, the silver lining here into Dark Sided, and I don't feel like that Thrall is that standout. I'm ready to be proven wrong here. Maybe some synergies with the Kel'Thuzad I'm missing out on, but ultimately it feels like it's kind of a miss.
Maybe some big earthquake slows help you land that, but again, protected, by the way.
Here's the problem: a dead Kel'Thuzad doesn't get stacks.
That is true. You can't stack if you're dead. Like there's no. That's a pretty good argument.
So Darksided has gone from the double support strategy that they anticipated not coming in with, or at least telling us that they weren't going to come in with, and now they've gone for far more damage. I think it's fair and a good tactic in their minds, it seems, to just say, this is Fnatic, this one didn't work, let's go the other opposite of the spectrum and just try and blow up.
I like with the adjustments, right? It does feel a little bit wild, but ultimately they are doing exactly what they should strategically to best their chances throughout the entire tournament while holding their own up against Fnatic. You guys' thoughts on the composition of Darksided?
It's weird. It probably is not going to look very great. I'm just going to have to throw it out there because Fnatic's composition, I think, looks absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. They drafted, again, the Kel'Thuzad into the Muradin Sonya. I think it's going to struggle. Li Ming is very safe in positioning. I think that the composition for Fnatic is going to handle this very well. I'll be surprised if Darksided does get to the late game here.
Final thoughts, Calder?
I have to agree with him. I think it's the wrong approach from Darksided here. First of all, the Kel'Thuzad for the reasons that I pointed out, but also Garrosh because I just think against Fnatic, they will not give you the value that you need out of Garrosh at the front line to punish them. So I would be very surprised if Darksided is going to make any big moves here.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Can Darksided bring it back in this series, or will DS be merely a handheld console in the hands of Fnatic in the dominating position? We're about to find out. Let's head over to the caster team.
Game 2, and we're already getting some ANZ flavor. I love it, Skimmy, and I really want to know from you, how excited was Hacky that Fnatic banned his Chromie versus him?
I mean, he was saying, look, I'm at one trick, and everyone back home will know you hate his Chromie. So the fact that Fnatic respected that much, he can just walk off that stage feeling, I know what I've done today.
Yeah, we got to peek into the lobby chat, and Hacky was asking Fnatic to follow him on Twitter. You know, just like maybe a little starstruck.
He's got that confidence, right? And he knows that like this is the one opportunity, so why not just go with it?
Well, let's see them go with it with Thrall and Kel'Thuzad, because we're ready for Game 2 with Fnatic up 1-0 in this best of 3. Game 2, Fnatic up 1-0, and they're taking us to Dragonshire. They are in the blue, with Breeze playing Muradin, Smexy playing Brightwing. We got Schwimpy's Medivh back, which means Quacknix will be playing Li Ming this time. And finally, Wubby hanging out in the top lane as Sonya.
And on the right-hand side, once again, it is Team Dark Sided. Demise this time playing his trusted Greymane Hacky on his Kel'Thuzad, Moops on Rhaegar. Session playing Frau, and Robadoba playing Garrosh.
Ooh, we're getting fancy in here for Game 2. The Group B first match. Both teams who are in the next match watching to see if there's any weakness at all in the members of Fnatic and to see how strong exactly Dark Sided are, because Dark Sided were sort of a mystery. Yes, they defeated Nomiya. Nomiya was a fan favorite, but it was also somewhat of a different Nomiya that we saw.
I mean, there was a lot of beef between these two teams. That's why it means so much more personally to Roboto, the fact that he can just join a new team and still get to where he needs to be. As we mentioned before, not missed a single ANZ championship since Heroes of the Storm came out in that region. And, I mean, absolutely, Nomiya, they made some changes. Many people, including myself, thought they were the favorites going into it. But
Right.
Darksided, they proved us all wrong.
Yes, they did. Robodoba on this team, too, it seems funny because Robodoba was always just a very quiet, reserved person, but then you look at some of the other members of Dark Sided, like Moops, Demise, and they're very outgoing, energetic. You could even see them still smiling and having fun on the stage.
Absolutely, and that's always been a big factor for me, even when I was playing back in the day, that you have to have that kind of synergy and communication and just factor of like, we're friends playing this game, and you can see the best teams, Fnatic included, when they are having fun, when they have that kind of bond within them, they do well.
Let's see how Darksided does with the pull types of compositions they have, and of course, most importantly, how Kalthazat can stack up his Blight. Currently has not been able to get a stack yet. We've seen Fnatic rotate opposite of them and should be keeping an eye on them in his Raven form, just so that they can deny Kalthazat of being able to get that big burst, that 75% spell power that you get after the 30 stacks.
Yeah, Shrimpy is going to act as the eyes in the sky. There's the first chains, but no, this time the Warbreaker will not connect. They will not get that flip to look for that combo. And yeah, Hacky, I mean, this is a hero that he's played a few times, typically for running it down mid, as the ANZ meme rocks and rolls with, but he'll be looking to try and prove on this stage with that map of the rotations to try and get those skirmishes, to try and get those blight stacks, and to try and have a big influence on this game.
Fnatic slowing down the rotations of Darksided as they head down to the bottom in attempts to take that shrine in the top lane. Wubby's basically been untouched since he got a hold of that shrine, so it's up to Darksided to make sure that they're at least controlling this bottom lane. And the longer that Fnatic can keep them from being able to do that, and the more they draw them down to the bottom, the less Darksided are getting to dictate where they want to go and where they want to set up so that they can get stacks, maybe even a pull from that Garrosh into towers to give them a kill.
I mean, you can just see by the body language of Fnatic, they know they're the ones that are stronger in this situation. They know that their composition will scale better into that later game, as Kauto was mentioning earlier on the desk. So you can tell a lot just by how players are positioning, how they're actually rotating, as to how this game is dictated.
Well, I'm looking at the level 1 talents, and really happy to see Force Armor for Li Ming. That's going to be crucial in making sure that she can stay alive from the burst that Darksided comes in with. But for Greymane, more of the Worgen style build from Demise. We've seen Eyes in the Dark and then Wolfheart, so we'll have to see if we're going to go as far as to even stack up with Wizened Duelist. It is super risky, especially versus Fnatic, so I'm not expecting that, but you never know what they're going to bring to the table.
I mean, you have to make an argument the fact that if they were going to go Wizened Duelist, game number 1 on Cursolo with the double support, especially with the Sanctification as well, would have been the go-to.
That's true, that's true.
So it seems a little bit counterintuitive. I'd be kind of surprised if they did decide to go that, and generally speaking, it is a confidence pick. As we now look into the top lane with Session still in that 1v1 trade. It's a bit rough. That is going to force Demise to come up to the top lane as well, where Shrimpy, he just goes for that backdoor with the dragon.
He's going to bring the dragon in behind the gate, behind the towers, everything. And Darksided moves back so that they don't get punted over to the other side. But in the bottom, Rhaegar goes down. That will be the first blood of this game on Dragonshire.
But it will be as Shrimpy just pops a portal. He gets out of there and says, look, you might think I'm trying to make a misplay, but I'm playing those mind games. As Haggy drops dangerously low. Yes, he gets the combo for the Blight stacks, but he is very lucky not to fall on that skirmish. It's Fnatic bully
Shrimpy?
top lane. They bully top.
Whippy!
And Medivh falls on floor as the sprays are on the floor as well. I mean, we've got B-Step and we've got the spray meta. It all comes across at the bottom lane as well. Hacky for the second time eludes death.
I don't know how he's doing it, but this Kalthazat is a Kalthazat master. Hacky showing that it's not just Chromie that he's able to juke and jive with. He's sitting at 10 stacks so far, so in 5 more, he will at least be able to get the cooldown reduction and make that even better. Breeze dodges the pull of Garrosh, but he doesn't have Avatar yet. He's going to go down, and we got B-Steps dropping.
There we go. That's the toxic ANZ that we know and love. And I say Breeze jumps one way, he gets flipped the other. He's bouncing around like it's a trampoline, but it's not his birthday just yet. He is in this game for game number 2 on Dragonshire, an ANZ favorite despite Fnatic picking it. Darksided are not down and out. They are even when it comes to XP.
Yeah, this level 7 is huge for Darksided because they have Glacial Spike now to help with the stacking process of Hacky. Things are going pretty well for Darksided here. They did lose the first Dragon Knight, but it was an early Dragon Knight. They took a little bit of structural damage, but they're trying to give it right back to Fnatic now that they have been able to get the few kills that they've gotten. Breeze gonna jump in again. But with an into the fray, Robodoba ensures that Moops is A-okay.
Yeah, Robodoba absolutely loves Garrosh. When he actually joined the team, he started off as the flex to replace Vikrek as that warrior position.
Oh, okay.
Session originally was their tank player, but Robodoba, with the expertise, with the amount of experience he has across all tournaments after week 1 of qualifiers, they switched him to that tanking role. He's playing Garrosh. He loves the hero. As they go for the bot lane aggression, Smexy baits things out as the rotation from Fnatic comes across through mid lane to bot. And now Darksided say that could have gone a little bit worse, but hey, we get out alive.
Darksided are doing enough to scare Fnatic back in this bottom and mid lane, but top is still absolutely a problem for Darksided. Fnatic, Wubby has just basically been untouched because Fnatic have been clearing so much space for him here. Portal, Demise in trouble, already used Eyes in the Dark, that is down, back and forth, surrounded on all sides by Fnatic as they bring him down.
Yeah, you can see Fnatic, they're 4 boys at the moment, so it's popping through that portal like it's a taxi, and they say, shuttle out of this one, run, 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 as Robodoba's running away. He's so low as well. He's kind of getting his cosplay on like Hacky, and he says, I will not die today. I don't have protected, by the way, but I do have armor.
Yeah, 48 of it to be exact, and that might be the highest number I've seen it without a double up. Fnatic continuing their siege, the shrines are up with the amount of damage that top lane is now sustained enough to take down the fort. That's going to be even harder for Sasha to control that top lane, and pushing in Darksided in the mid is a free Dragon Knight for Fnatic.
Yeah, it is the second one of this game, the controlling of the map as we discussed in the early game, the confidence, the body pressure of saying we can win this lane, we can command this rotation. Allows them to get this dragon, allows them to start building up this XP. It was 8 and 8 before, but suddenly just like that, a 1-level lead is acquired. The dragon is going to start doing some work in terms of systematically clearing out these forts. Top lane is gone as a result of that Wubby matchup. Mid lane is gone as well, and now all eyes on the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm really interested and ready to see how Darksided are going to take these team fights, and as they group, I think this is the place where they were wanting to do it. There's the Sundering.
Here it is to start things off with the Wrecking Ball to try and get a call, and they do take down Sonya in that Warlord challenge. That is the amplification of the damage coming through by Hacky as well. He wants to get his name on that score sheet, but they find that pick. It's important, but don't forget this dragon still in the bot lane, nice and healthy. Shrimpy inside, he pops that portal, and he gets out of jail for free.
Yeah, that just continues to be a problem for Darksided. Is the macro game. They might get kills. This Polymorph, the Storm Ball, everything. Emerald Wind, Robodoba living through it just barely. Finally, he falls.
Without that tank, this is a very scary situation right now. No Sundering, that's going to be the ley line still to start things off with. The Ancestral comes across onto Demise as he falls to the floor. No, it's going to be Moves that falls to the floor instead as both 2 members go down into the dark. He jukes out the stun and he gets away just like that, Gilly.
Yeah, that is the nice thing of having Eyes in the Dark, and it has come in handy for Demise a couple of times. I didn't notice that. He gets some insane escapes whenever he is on the Greymane. I love watching Demise's Greymane. But this is still a problem for Darksided, as Fnatic have been able to take down all of the tier 1 structures now, as this fort just barely ticks down to death. It goes down.
As we'd say back home, you can almost sneeze on it and it would fall over. Winter is coming as summer has now approached us back home. Everything's switched around, right? You know, we've got summer here, but the weather's far hotter in this side of the world than back home.
Yeah, even though it's the end of October.
I mean, I don't know how this weather works, man. You guys, like, you can stay inside all day, but it's 40 degrees. So, well, that's like
we
120.
wanted to make you feel more at home, Skimmy. It was all for you.
It's all about that tan.
That it is. There's a Storm Ball. It's all about the damage, the crowd control, but this is kind of working out for Darksided so far.
Looking to damage, a lot of overlaps, but no kills so far by Darksided, and that's allowing Fnatic just to turn things around on its head just like that. 2 kills, maybe. Can I get a 3rd kill? Yes, I can. Looking for a 4th, but Moops runs away, and Hacky is on his boosters as well. You can see there, Wubby, the human fidget spinner, spinning to win. He clears that wave, and now they put that pressure in that bot lane, looking for a keep.
I thought maybe something would work out for Darksided because they had the combo from Hacky and Sundering going down, and it stopped Fnatic in their tracks, a lot of the members, but Smexy right in the middle of the action, getting an Emerald Wind, taking down Demise. He was completely separated from the rest of the team, and bringing him down so fast, there's no way he was going to be able to get out of that, and that was the first of many to fall for Darksided, and it's at the perfect timing.
Yep.
Fnatic just about to get both of the shrines. They've been able to do this just about every single time with the Dragon Knight, except maybe the first one, and that's just set up in a way that they have forced Darksided back just in time for the Dragon Knight phase.
Just a systematic understanding of how this map works. They go for the skirmish, they get the kills. Now they punish them significantly as a result. As soon as that dragon is available, bam, that is ours. They collapse it. The only saving grace right now for Darksided is they get some giants to delay the inevitable, as Wubby with that dragon is looking for that keep in the bot lane. Arguably the best lane to take.
Schwimpy was flying around, it scared Dark Sided away. This keep is open for the taking from Fnatic as they clear out the Giants and step forward. But Schwimpy still in the mid, soaking up, looking for 16 for the 16-13 spike that they had in the last game too.
Blighted, 10 minutes and 30 seconds only now being completed. A big power spike with that 75% amplification to the spell armor. Will that be enough to try and delay what is happening so far as that keep falls on down to half? Wibby down to 30% inside that Dragon Knight itself. 16 is there now, it's just being picked up. It's a big advantage for Fnatic to start working with.
This isn't the place that you want to be with a Kel'Thuzad. You want to be sieging because you can use your opponent's structures against them. There's one pull, but Breeze just dwarf tosses away. That is down now.
I had my eyes on Sash in there, seeing was he going to pull the trigger on that Sundering?
Me too.
They don't have that talent here to work with a 3-level disadvantage. It's not too attractive if you consider it, right? So they say, look, we lose our keep, but let's not try and lose too much more as the rotation from Fnatic comes through to the mid lane.
Yeah, going in for the engagement there, if they would have lost it, it was in a place where Fnatic just could have pushed right on into the core and finished off Dark Sided and the series. So at this point, we have seen Dark Sided in the last game get aggressive, down those talent tiers when they have to, but it's nice to see them showing patience, knowing that that just was not the time for them, not yet, where they have to make that kind of risky endeavor.
Now it's slow, calculated performance right now from Fnatic as they just go through to this mid lane. They're keeping these lanes consistently pushed out. You saw Demise for a second go to that top lane through that Death Bridge, making sure that not every single lane is against them. Obviously the continuous pressure in that bot lane will be a disadvantage for them to work with, and that once again works into sort of the same strategy that we saw coming out of Fnatic on the Cursed Hollow. We just beat you with rotations, we beat you with better map understandings. If you can never find that dream 5v5, there's never any chance for you to try and get that lucky team fight and get yourself back into this.
Yeah, I'm looking at 16 and what that tier has to offer for Darksided, and it's definitely a lot for percent-based damage because you can get things like Alpha Wolf for Thrall, as well as the Alpha Killer for Greymane. So it may be that they want to try to punish Breeze when he's too far forward, but if that's the case, you're going to have to be able to pull him in after the Dwarf Toss or force the Dwarf Toss and then be in position that they can take him down after the fact.
And I mean, you asked earlier in the cast, is it going to be the Wiz and Julius? We both thought it wouldn't be the best opportunity for that. He has gone for the human form instead, which will give him some mobility. We'll give him the ability to poke from afar before he tries to commit him, because if he does commit, he's got a lot of raw damage to meet him with. The Emerald Wind you discussed, you've got the Polymorph. Those are only a couple of crowd control abilities across the board that Fnatic have to run with.
Yeah, I've seen that Quicksilver Bullet a lot more in Korea too. People like Reset have been using it a lot more as a way for them to stutter step almost like they're playing a Vala.
Correct, yeah.
So a lot more just focus on the auto attack, even pairing it with auto attack speed like Will of Heaven with an Ariel at 16. So it's really cool to see that kind of adjustment being made as Greymanes have been starting to use more and more as the hyper carry for team compositions there.
Look how close Darksided are for 16 right now. They open up the low line, still looking for that fight. Sundering comes across as well. Session super low. He's going to do whatever he can. Ancestral does connect. Right wing falls, mid D falls as well. Just like that, 2 kills are picked up. It's a trade as Rhaegar falls to the floor, but all things said and done, it's an absolute bloodfest. 3 for 2, currently working in favor of Darksided as Breeze tries to go for the 1v3. They're flipping, they're going, and they're killing.
That Sundering was amazing for Darksided to finally get a fight in their favor. They get to 16. Every time that we have seen a Dragon Knight phase start, Fnatic have been the ones trying to go in, and they've been winning fights, and that enables them to get a Dragon Knight for free. But this is not the case this time. 3 members of Fnatic are down, only Amurden and Li Ming, and all it is cleanup duty right now, making sure that Darksided can't get that Dragon Knight. But Robodoba is low. This is still looking good for Fnatic. Sashin heading to the top lane.
I was just going to say, despite it looking theoretically in favor of Darksided, they actually can't really respond too much with this one. They've got members that have to retreat. Session has to take top lane. They've got to respond to the top lane pressure as well. The Knights, the minion wave was nice and stacked against it, starting to put some pressure on towards that keep. So yes, Fnatic don't have to panic, and rightfully so. They realize that, hey, we do lose a couple more members in this situation, but we have all the control, and we're the ones in that dominating position to hit 20 and go for another dragon.
Someone has to head mid and fast. Robodoba even using Into the Fray just to make sure that Breeze doesn't get this Dragon Knight. Darksided stops Fnatic from an instant Dragon Knight and potentially an instant win, but they're by no means out of it yet. They're still here in the mid. They're choosing to stick together in the mid. That is risky, of course, because if they lose the fight, Fnatic will be able to get that Dragon Knight right away, and there's a lot of time that they can use those long respawn timers of Darksided if they win the fight. They send down Sash to the bottom. Shrimpy spotting this out, dropping some sprays, making sure that he is at least letting them know what's up.
He's letting them know what's up. This is one of those matchups that you know there's going to be a lot of love there. And they go for the one-man ley line seal. They catch out Moops. Will be jumps in there with the Poison Spear, dropping him to half. Respectable damage to say the least, but the Poison Spear is all that he's going to do as they use that portal to get away. It looks to me as if Fnatic are posturing for that fight once they hit 20 after what happened last time.
Yeah, they're keeping Dark Sided here, and Dark Sided are running out of options, running out of time. It may be a level 20 fight. Robodoba takes a huge chunk of damage from Quacknix, but if they're going to fight, they need to do something now. They cannot get this Raven form Schwimpy. They need to find somebody else. Looks like they might have found it.
They don't. Robodoba does not find the pick that they are after, and that window, as you discussed, is falling by the second. They went for the Giant Camp. Demise starting that one off there, but as you say, with the win condition already being exposed in that bottom lane, yes, it's 16 minutes. The Dragon won't be that win condition on its own, or will it be? I mean, especially if Fnatic have a few members to survive with, they can go for that siege with the 20 advantage, and they can just close things out in a heartbeat.
Dark-Sided move super aggressively across the map, but the whole time Fnatic just flanks, and they take out Greymane. There's no Greymane here, and Fnatic are ready to go into this 20 fight.
Beginning of the end, and as they discussed in the panel right there, Hacky's going to fall on down to the Emerald Wing. Continuous wind and continuous death as 4 fall to the floor. Ancestral's going to be there, and Armor or not, you are not going to live through 5 members banging on your front door. He's going to be the last one to fall on down, clean as can be. And just like that, Fnatic say this is time for the 2-0. We're warmed up, and we're showing you what's up.
Fnatic were just waiting for the point to pull the trigger, and 20 was that point with a Dragon Knight ready and available to take. They will get that. Wubby gets on the core, use the Hardened Shield. The Spexy's coming in, ignoring the pain of the core, and that will be it. Fnatic, as everyone expected, were able to take down Dark-Sided, but Dark-Sided, they came in, they showed what they could. We'll see if they have more tricks up their sleeve for the rest of the teams in their group.
Yeah, I think if anything, Dark-Sided actually can be pretty impressed in how they played in this one. A lot of people wrote them off very early on, saying these games are going to be 6 minutes, 8 minutes, very, very quick. This series is going to be said and done in a heartbeat, but respectable performance by them. Fnatic, clean as can be. They start the day off with a nice 2-0.
Fnatic looks incredibly strong, but I'm excited to see what the winner of the next series can do versus them. It's important to be able to gauge the strength of Fnatic, especially for the other top teams who are waiting in the wings to see just how strong Fnatic looks in the competition. MVP Black made it through with flying colors yesterday in the group.
Yeah, and nothing really had to be revealed in this situation, right? They just play standard, they just know they have the mechanical skill and the experience to beat a team like this, so no cheese is necessary. And now the rest of the people in Group B can watch and say, well, how do we try and take these guys down? Is the preparation we had leading into this enough?
Well, let's check back in with the analysts after the series.
I can't decide who won more. Was it Fnatic or was it the HGC cheer system? Because overall, there were more sprays in that game than I've ever done in the entirety of the cheer system. That was a lot of sprays.
A lot of sprays.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting approach that Shrimpy had to Medivh. It was just basically, okay, you fly over them and you just like tag them all game long. You drop the spray.
For the first 2 minutes, I think he probably had 0 siege damage and 0 hero damage because it was just about the sprays.
It's always about the sprays.
The time to spray ratio was on point.
It was very good. But overall, Fnatic looked strong. Were able to find some points where they, got some good combos going, etc., and things like that. Dark-Sided, though, there were moments where they did get some good kills and potential turnarounds, but it's all too far gone at some of those points.
I mean, yeah, and again, it is, we've said it, that this is exactly what we kind of expected from the squad. Ultimately, I feel like if I'm looking from the perspective of Dark-Sided, that they've got to feel like totally ready. It feels like the day is just beginning, ultimately, for them.
I think Skemmy put it best on the closeout there. It was a very respectable performance by Dark-Sided. You could easily just fall over, get run over, but I think they held in there. The second game, I think, was much better than their first. Get it out of the way. I mean, you don't really expect to win. You hope to win, but they've got another shot going out. They knew that. We saw it in the interview. Moops, although his tongue-in-cheek comment of after we beat Fnatic, it's going to be easy. He knows it's going to be a little bit easier later in the day.
Final thoughts on it, Kaldor, that series?
I'm not really sold on the second game because I didn't like the draft too much.
Okay.
I think it was way too risky. But again, we have to put it into the perspective of them knowing that they're most likely not going to overcome the obstacle of Fnatic. So they have stuff prepared for later.
Right.
And other teams that look at this series are not going to get as much information as they would probably hope for. So I'm ready for the real dark side to show up in the next series.
All right. Unfortunately for Garrosh, no mountains of skulls and rivers of blood for him as we head over to the stage now and hear from Fnatic, who are the victors.
Thank you so much, Kalaris, and I'm here with Shwimpy from the team of Fnatic. Congratulations on your first 2-0 win here in the group stage. I got to ask you, I know there's a lot of expectations and high hopes for your team in this tournament. How are you all feeling amidst all of that pressure and all those high expectations?
I think we're a good contender for this tournament for sure. I think we can win it, but also the other teams has grown really strong, so I don't think we should be seen as a favorite directly. But I mean, a strong contender, sure.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I know before this tournament, your team decided to spend a good amount of time in Korea boot camping and preparations for that. Talk to me about the motivations for that decision. Why was it that you guys decided you needed to take your practice there?
So every EU team went there as well, so we didn't have, like, we got a lot more teams to scrim and practice versus. And about the Koreans, like, either they're weaker than in mid-season, and then we can feel that, or they're stronger and they know something we don't, and then we learn that. So I think it was a win-win either way.
Yeah, and it does sound like you guys took away a pretty sobering reality for the Korean experience and abilities at the moment. What is it about their play right now that makes them so much stronger than mid-season?
I think in mid-season, Korea was in a pretty rough spot, mostly because Natsujin and Noblesse were retiring. I mean, they knew it before and they didn't practice as much. And I think those two were like the guys innovating the Korean meta mostly. And so now that Noblesse is a coach for MEP Black and the teams are motivated to practice, I mean, it's Korea. They're going to be strong.
Well, Shwimpy, congratulations. Good luck in your next games here in the group stage, and all the best. Yeah, shout out real quick.
Shout out to my boy, Fat94.
Oh, no. It's getting real here at the Blizzard Arena here for the HGC, guys. Fnatic taking the first 2-0 win here in Group B. We're going to take a short break. Be right back. Stick with us.